Welcome, guys, to the BSL final party here. Seems like only yesterday that we started the tournament, but time flies, especially when you have such exciting games going on every single weekend. I'm joined here by a roundtable of amazing guests. Of course, we always have this small reunion at the end of every BSL season to try and bridge the two major communities here, English-speaking ones and the Spanish-speaking ones, of course. I mean, every time there's a Latin American player in the tournament, we always see the big donations from Death Fate, even Ollie Patrick, Go Latam. They always have huge support. So, us from the English-speaking broadcast, we don't necessarily, or like the actual stream, we don't see that many Spanish speakers in the chat. But the reality is, there's a huge viewership. So I'm joined here by, of course, Nayokin, the lovely co-caster that I have enjoyed casting with for the past couple seasons here, but also Death Fate, Ollie Patrick, who are amazing casters in the Spanish community, and a very special guest here. We have Terran Mallow, who is one of the many sponsors, but a very significant sponsor of the BSL. He wanted to come on and say hi. So Terran Mallow, hello to you. How are you doing today?
Hello, guys. I'm so good and so excited. This is the first time that I talk with you, so I'm thankful for this chance, for this opportunity that I can help the BSL. When I think about BSL, I think about the community out of Korea in StarCraft. So I take this chance for help the community, and I hope to continue with my help given to the BSL. So I'm really thankful for this time, for this opportunity. So yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, and I understand that you're also an old school player, right? You used to play StarCraft for a long time?
I was playing that like many years ago, but I was doing my work. I was missionary for many years. Now, for the pandemic, for the COVID, I try to return, but I'm not like a player. But I said, well, I'm not a good player, but I need to do something for StarCraft because I love this game. So I try to help a lot of persons. Now I'm working with the communities from South America, Latin. I did all kill with a community from Europa with Bonnie the World. Now I'm working with the people from Cuba. They can buy the StarCraft Remastered, but I buy for him. So I'm working with the people. So I mean, all Hispanic people are trying to help there.
Well, Terran Mallow, I have one more question real quick for you. I mean, your name is Terran Mallow, so I guess you play Terran?
Yes.
And who are you rooting for today, then?
I do some tournaments. I try to see the best play for the games. But I'm from South. I'm Latin. I'm from Latin. I hope to see a terror, like a winner for this BSL. But the most important for me is to see a really good game for the guys. So good luck for Bonnie. Good luck for terror. I hope to see a good game today.
Okay, awesome. Well, Death Fate, Ollie Patrick, we don't really see you guys on here too much. Before we can kind of just, give us your thoughts a bit on the tournament so far. How have you liked this tournament? Just brief thoughts, and then that can wrap up kind of the English segment, and then you guys can go into kind of the Spanish segment and continue the interview with Terran Mallow and talk about the tournament. Death Fate, we can start with you. Sorry.
Okay, I start. Okay. I have been enjoying a lot this BSL12. I think it has been amazing. I like a lot the maps. There have been quite changes, and I think it brings some new strategies and new gameplay with Downside, with Power Bond. That it's not Fighting Spirit, Polyvoid, or all those maps. And I think the gamers are stepping up. They are playing better and better, making less mistakes. For example, I think the semifinals yesterday were amazing. The two of them, the trutaCz Terror was amazing, and also the Sziky versus Bonnie was hard, the heart attack. I always say so. I am enjoying a lot this BSL. I hope we can have a BSL13. I am rooting for it. I'm making all the efforts I can to make this happen because I love this tournament, and thank you all guys to make this possible, because without you this wouldn't be possible. So thank you very much.
Well, here in Latin America, we are very excited to have reached a new final of the Bombastic Starleague Season 12. Terror and Bonnet face once again, seeking to achieve the title of champion. For my part, it has been a pleasure to have been part of this talented cast team that has brought all the excitement, games, date after date. A huge hug to all those who make this tremendous competition possible, and especially to Zero2 for his great management and administration. I'm hoping and seeing forward to have great GGs today, and well, with the community, you know, he's cheering here for Terror and also for Bonnet, a 5 championship in a row. It's a great accomplishment, and let's see what happens today.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for your brief thoughts, and yeah, that's gonna be it for the English segment. And you know, ahora podemos hablar en español un poco. Death Fate, take it away, man.
Ok, pues yo quería agradecer lo primero a Terran Malo, que eres el héroe de la Bombastic. No me canso de repetirlo, pero infinitas gracias por sponsorizar esto. Y bueno, quería preguntarte un poco cómo se te metió la idea de sponsorizar la Bombastic. ¿Estás contento? ¿Cómo está pasando el torneo? Luego ya, si quieres, te pregunto un poco ya por bueno, el número de gente LATAM que ha llegado aquí a los octavos, que ha sido muy grande. Pero primero quería preguntarte un poco cómo se te pasó la idea de sponsorizar la Bombastic, qué te ha parecido el torneo.
No, primero empecé con Oli Patrick, ¿no? Empecé viendo sus streams y haciendo pequeñas colaboraciones con los premios en los showmatch de Oli Patrick. Y después fui haciendo yo lo mío y yo dije, bueno, en LATAM tenemos que tener esa costumbre no solo de mirar los torneos, no solo de hablar de los jugadores, porque detrás de cada jugador hay un tiempo, detrás de cada torneo hay mucho trabajo, y nosotros como miradores de este juego y como los que siempre estamos viendo este juego debemos de colaborar, ¿no? Y la mejor manera también de hacerlo es dando like, compartiendo. También, si podemos hacerlo económicamente, hacerlo, ¿no? No nos detengamos, y hay que hacerlo porque esto es lo que va a mantener viva la comunidad. Y bueno, he estado alejado mucho tiempo del StarCraft, pero yo siento, y hasta lo que he escuchado, creo que esta temporada, de todo este tiempo que hemos estado viviendo, creo que este es uno de los momentos donde StarCraft está con mucha más fuerza que antes, y creo que esto debe de mantenerse así, y es un momento donde debemos de atraer más gente a este hermoso juego, atraer más gente, atraer nuevos jugadores, y que los jugadores que recién están empezando que sigan aumentando su nivel, ¿no? Eso es lo más importante. Y la BSL es una plataforma enorme para que esto siga adelante. Es por eso que dije, bueno, yo quiero apoyar a la BSL, porque para mí apoyar a la BSL es apoyar a toda la comunidad fuera de Corea también, ¿no?
Quiero aprovechar, Terran Malo, que te tengo en línea, hemos conversado muchas veces, y vecino Terran Malo, agradecerte una vez más por tu apoyo desprendido hacia la comunidad. Como tú lo mencionabas, habías empezado desde el principio con algunos showmatch, incentivos, no solo para los players, también para la gente que veía las transmisiones, ¿no? Regalando remasterizados, incluso a veces dinero en efectivo, y ahora se ha logrado apoyar a una de las competiciones más grandes a nivel mundial. Y además de agradecerte a ti, quiero también aprovechar y agradecer a todas las personas seguidores que fecha tras fecha también nos han honrado con su presencia, y es que ellos hacen posible esto, ¿no? Tenemos mucha gente que nos ve día tras día, y ellos hacen posible que también esté incentivo de que la competitividad crezca y la competición también crezca, de que haya una 13ª, 14ª, 15ª edición de la BSL con más jugadores. Y qué lindo tener a 4 representantes ya en la recta final, y ahora todos representados por Terran. Nuevamente, Terran Malo, gracias por todo el apoyo. Y seguros que vas a disfrutar la transmisión por cualquiera de los canales, así como toda la comunidad que ya se está conectando.
Muchas gracias. Quisiera acotar algo corto. Bueno, yo ya voy a terminar de hacer los eventos que yo usualmente hago. Voy a hacer un último torneo, y va a ser un torneo donde el prize pool no va a ser grande, pero va a haber muchos premios para la comunidad, y sobre todo remasterizados, porque eso es lo que necesita la comunidad, ¿no? Obtener sus remasterizados para que puedan entrar y sentir esa emoción de poder rankear, de poder jugar con personas de otros países, ¿no? So, primero, nada, agradecer a Mr. Zero, agradecer a ustedes, chicos, de verdad son fenomenales. I'm so thankful for Mr. Zero for this opportunity that he gave me for to share something with the BSL. Yeah, thanks. I hope to see a good game with Terror and Bonnie. Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Taryn Malo, for joining us today. Thank you, obviously, Deathfake and Ollie Patrick. You guys are doing so much good work on the other side of the broadcast. And without you guys, obviously, BSL wouldn't have been growing as much as it has. Hopefully, we will get that BSL 13, 14, 15. No doubt about it. We will get there. But yeah, that's going to be it for this little reunion here, guys. We're going to go for a quick break. And when we are back, we'll get into the third and fourth place match, which is between trutaCz and Sziky. And of course, after that, Boneth versus Terror, a sick rematch from last season. You don't want to miss it. We'll be back. Well,
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't realize that we were back already.
Get in there, dude.
All right, we're back with the last day of BSL 12. We're going to be going into the third and fourth place matchup in just a second. It's going to be trutaCz versus Sziky, so it's going to be an epic ZVZ. We've been talking about how strong these players are with the Muta and Ling Micro. We saw eOnZerG fall earlier to trutaCz, and Sziky is up there with them in terms of the Muta Micro, so it should be an exciting matchup.
Yeah, it should be an exciting matchup because, we're always talking about who are the ZVZ kings, and trutaCz versus Sziky are always up there. eOnZerG, of course, as well. Those three guys have had absolutely incredible ZVZ, but this time around, it is going to be trutaCz versus Sziky, and time and again, we saw both of these guys have absolutely incredible Muta Micro, and I'm pretty excited to watch this game, actually. Of course, later on we are going to have Bonnet versus Terror, but that's going to have to wait. And between these two guys, man, I mean, I don't know if they've played before in the BSL, but do you feel like anyone's really favorite? I feel like this is the most like toss-up match we've had in the tournament.
Yeah, like eOnZerG and trutaCz also a toss-up. We saw trutaCz win though.
Yeah.
But we saw Sziky in previous BSLs with the epic mutamicro, and we know trutaCz can match the epic mutamicro. Actually, I think Sziky and trutaCz played in BSL 10 maybe? I can't remember exactly, but there was that Sylphid game, and I was watching, and I remember thinking, like, wow, this guy's mutamicro is very good for coming back so recently. And now that Sziky has had a few more months, I'm kind of tempted to favor Sziky here a little bit, simply because now he has more time to catch up. But trutaCz is always a monster in BSL. He always goes pretty far. So I think, as you said, this is like a complete toss-up. Guys, you have to remember this section this match is going to be best of 5. It's not going to be best of 7 like the others. So there are going to be vetoes, and I'm curious what map bans they're going to go for.
Yeah, for the best of 5, there are going to be vetoes. For the best of 7, they will have to basically play all of the maps if we do get to that point. But of course, the players get to choose the order. For this best of 5, though, looks like trutaCz banned Blue Storm and Sziky banned Blindside.
Yeah, so Blue Storm is one of those, it's not necessarily a weird map because it's been in the map pool for so long, or not the map pool, but it's been available to players for so long. But it is the tiniest map, so I guess it is the weirdest out of what we have. And then Polypoid, Eclipse, Power Bond, Shakuris, and Tau are the remaining maps. ZVZ is not one of the matchups where maps, I don't think, are a huge deal. But so I don't think there's like anything like that stands out like, oh, I 100% need to ban this map. I think it's pretty obvious that Blindside got banned simply because it's just a map that nobody plays.
Yeah. I mean, time and again, it has been just banned. So the player's not really a fan of that map. I mean, it is hard, obviously for some of these maps to make it into the played area, I guess, because when it's not on ladder, when it's only part of a specific tournament, the majority of players are not in the BSL, right? Like, even especially as you get deeper into the BSL, there's a lot of talent out there, and most of that talent is not playing these maps because they have no reason to. So not surprising, a map like Blindside, it's not necessarily whether it's a good map or a bad map, but sometimes it's also just a matter of, can I find people to help me practice on this map? And a lot of the times, that answer is no. So Blindside has not seen too much play this tournament, but the other maps have been, I guess Powerbond is another map that people have kind of shied away from, but we have seen it, and we might see it here between these two guys. Blue Storm is probably the more interesting map, I would say, that's left in the map pool, which is probably why it was banned. And it was probably, actually it was banned by trutaCz. I was going to say it's probably banned by Sziky, but the rest of the maps are going to be pretty standard, especially for the ZVZ matchup.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it a little more, I'm kind of, on the fence about the Blue Storm ban, because even though that is a short map, at least it's a 2-player map. At least you're going to scout each other instantly. But maps like Tau Cross, Powerbond, they're 3-player, so somebody could get a straight instant scout and the other player scouts the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So now that the more I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of wondering why Tau didn't get banned instead of Powerbond. But
here's what I think, actually, real quick, Nyokin.
Blue Storm,
about Blue Storm, because trutaCz, we've seen him play a lot of mutalisk builds. He likes to play those tech builds. And Blue Storm is one of those maps that really, 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 really promotes Zergling play. From being a 2-player map, from the fact that, you know, if you play overly greedy, you have to deal with the really short rush distances. Something like 12 pull, 12 gas, 11 hatchery into mass links is very popular on there because there's no choke. There's no choke now. You can there's that small choke in front of your nat, but there's no choke going into your main. So it's super ling heavy. And generally you see trutaCz avoid that type of playstyle.
Yeah, well, maybe that is the reason that he ended up vetoing Blue Storm. We're going to be getting into game 1. Our first map is going to be Polypoid. So let's get into our third place match. It's going to be between trutaCz and Sziky. So in the blue in the bottom left, our Zerg player, it is Sziky.
And in the blue again in the bottom, in the pink in the top left, it is trutaCz.
Yep, so we do see that, I mean, interesting scout patterns because trutaCz is not going the normal scout pattern down to bottom middle, and this time around he's going to get punished because he would have found Sziky in the first scout. Meanwhile, Sziky is going for the standard scout, and again, he's not going to find anything there, so both players are going to be in the dark. And I like what you mentioned about trutaCz, where maybe the theory behind banning Blue Storm, he doesn't want to deal with, you know, a lot of ling harassment, and Polypoid is a big map, and we're seeing that here. So I'm thinking maybe we might see a 12 hatch opener from him. But if you think about all the games we've seen so far from trutaCz this season, like, he's been pretty aggressive, like not even just ZVZ, also ZVT, and yesterday ZVT again, like really, really hard on the mutas and lings.
Yeah, I mean, as I said that, I had flashbacks to him ling all-inning me, and I'm like, wait a second, this guy actually likes making lings, so that, you know, we'll see. Of course, sometimes, guys, we just have to fill the dead air. I mean, what else are we going to talk about? Gotta try and theory craft why trutaCz banned Blue Storm, but sometimes it's not even like, oh yeah, I have this super 5-head theory about why this map's not good. No, it's just like, I don't like that map, and that's fun enough. So trutaCz, interestingly though, going for, yeah, this is exactly what we see generally from someone who's off scouting like trutaCz is. He was trying to catch the Overlord from Sziky scouting kind of the standard location, or the meta path rather. And so trutaCz is really kind of rolling the dice that Sziky hopefully is actually scouting like normally. And we've seen this before actually. I think Cross versus someone else. I remember it was a Crossy game, and because either Crossy did it, I think maybe versus Gornish or something. But sometimes this can backfire. This time around, though, it won't. And Sziky, with his second Overlord, though, going for a more interesting scout pattern towards the middle of the map. I wonder if this is to clip any kind of incoming lings.
So we've got lings coming out for Sziky any moment now. It was like a 12 pool opener for him. Meanwhile, it was extractor pool for trutaCz. You can see that he's just holding position on his ramp. Meanwhile, hatchery going down for Sziky at the natural, and trutaCz is banking up that gas quite a bit, so he's definitely going for heavy muta play in the early stages. Well, obviously he's going for mutas, but what I mean is he's not going to put on any pressure with these lings. He's second hatchery in the main, and because he has not gotten scouted, this may kind of feel like a one hatch for a while for Sziky, and he may be more confident if a muta-ling combination comes and hits him in the mid game and catch him completely off guard. We'll have to see how he reacts to the incoming ling attack in the mid game.
Yeah, but the lair is already coming. Spire done, or lair done for trutaCz. Spire on the way. Second hatch in base. So trutaCz definitely. Again, maybe I'm right about this, Nyokin, but trutaCz does like those mutalisk builds in ZVZ, and he should be pretty safe here, though, with the ramp.
Is that a gap?
There is a small gap to the... Oh my god! But actually, Sziky kind of comes in here. Unfortunately, though, trutaCz does defend. And, you know, trutaCz didn't even need to get speed yet. He is getting a creep colony to be ultra safe. Of course, the Overlord does see the natural has absolutely no drones for Sziky, and he also knows that speed is done. So trutaCz knows he just has to survive here and get a couple mutalisks out, and eventually he'll have to fall back anyway because you have to use some of that larva to make the mutalisks. The Sunken is not quite up just yet. Sziky is getting in there, but pulling back as the Sunken finishes to morph. And, you know, in this situation, Sziky can't really press any further. He has to accept the fact that trutaCz is going to get his mutalisks out. But on the flip side for Sziky, he does have that natural to work with.
Yeah, and Sziky did scout the second hatch in the main, so he knows that this is not just one hatch production. You can see that Evolution Chamber going down for Sziky at his natural. He's going to be putting down that double spore pretty soon. And with the Evolution Chamber situated where it is, it also helps prevent lings from running into your ramp. A lot of Zergs have gotten a lot better with SimCity, especially in ZVZ. So this is a pretty good position for Sziky, I think, despite the mutas coming out in just a second for trutaCz. We see that the main, or actually there's only one spore colony for now at the natural. And this is what I was talking about. This looks like a muta build, but it's actually just a flood of lings. And this is going to catch Sziky off guard because you can see both colonies are morphing into spores.
Yeah, this is genius by trutaCz. We've actually seen this before, even in the Korean leagues.
Oh, that's a Sunken!
Yeah, that Sunken is going to help, but I mean, if these eggs aren't lings... Oh, he did sniff this out, though. Sziky knows exactly what's happening. More lings joining the fight. That Sunken, though, is going to go down, and trutaCz is just overwhelming Sziky's position. So despite the fact that Sziky actually had a good read on what was going on... Oh, but actually, he does have some mutalisks morphing, so maybe he can hold on. But trutaCz is threatening to kill this natural hatchery, and if this hatchery goes down, it's all but over for Sziky. He's going to be in such a tough spot. He spent so many resources on getting those creep colonies up. Yeah, well, he's pulling the drones here, but they're not the best of fighters. They are funneling the lings, though. Somehow, Sziky is pulling this off. That hatchery is not dead just yet.
Yeah, but look at the supply. It's 25 to 16 now. Now mutalisks are coming out for trutaCz. I haven't seen a single muta for Sziky. I thought one popped out, but where did it go? Like, is it just chasing that muta that was actually out on the map? No, it's not. Those are Scourge chasing that muta at the top side. So for now, Sziky has held, and trutaCz is going to lose a muta, but trutaCz has so many Scourge left over. But, no, I mean... Did Sziky really stabilize right here? There's no mutas for trutaCz anymore.
I don't really know what's going on. That should have been game over for Sziky, and somehow trutaCz just has a bunch of Scourge that are idle. Unfortunately, I think Sziky just overmade Scourge. He really kind of thought that the mutalisks were coming in for Sziky. And sometimes you see this ling flood into mass Scourge to deal with the mutalisks, but unfortunately... For trutaCz, that meant that he had that fewer lings to work with, and Sziky stabilizes, but he is still behind on supply. So trutaCz should be ahead, and in this type of situation, you know, trutaCz kind of will have to probably accept that he can't outright win the game, and look to take a third hatchery at his natural, which is exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, and always dangerous when you see a drone moving from trutaCz's base. You know it can be used as a Sunken push. This time around, he's just putting down a third hatch, and the bottom side of that natural hatchery is very, very exposed. There's no spore there. It's just Scourge, and knowing trutaCz, these Scourge are not going to connect. Like, he just kills them so easily. You see that the mutas fly in, snipe 2 drones. Yeah, that's not going to connect ever. It just doesn't happen as long as trutaCz is watching. That's going to be 3 drones down for not a single muta kill, and we can see that those mutas have gotten into the gypsy spot again, but that draws the mutas out of position. You see that there's an instant counterattack from Sziky. However, that's an exposed spire, and there is a Sunken in the main of trutaCz, so he should hold this attack.
Yep, he will kill the spire here, and trutaCz will lose his hatchery though. But I feel like the damage is pretty much done with killing that spire. He will... I mean, the thing here for trutaCz is that he can't necessarily end this game just yet, because it looks like the lings got killed from trying to kill the spore in Sziky's main. And with these spores around, there's just no way for trutaCz to end the game. So this is almost a good trade. Like, Sziky basically traded a spire for hatchery. And, you know, that's not too bad because it doesn't look like Sziky... I mean, Sziky can just sit back and still mass up his gas count and eventually catch up in mutalisks, especially if trutaCz does not have that second gas going.
Well, we'll see if he can catch up. We know that trutaCz is putting down his third hatch again at the natural. I can't believe that it wasn't canceled. It was actually killed, so that's a big loss for him. Meanwhile, supplies are still heavily in favor of trutaCz, but with the spores now setting up at the natural and the main, he shouldn't really have any access to get damage done other than trying to kill some drones at like the extractor maybe. He does find some lings in the center of the map, and we can see that trutaCz is sending a decent chunk of lings down to the bottom side again, and there is nothing at the ramp, so if he went for a run by right now, he would have a lot of success, and there's no defense in the main other than that one spore colony, and that's exactly what trutaCz has done. He's going straight to the main, and that spore is already low, so this should get taken down pretty easily, and instead, he just taps out.
Killer move there from trutaCz, recognizing that he had an opening there, and you know, we see that a lot in ZVZ when the player that has the mutalisk advantage basically cuts off the path between the natural and the main. It's one of the most textbook things to do. It's hard to have both sunks and spores at both your main and your natural, because obviously every single creep colony is a drone, and not just that, but I mean, they're cumulatively, it's like so expensive. It's the most expensive static defense building. You know, like whether it's a sunken or a spore, so you can't just have like infinity of them.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the placement of the second spore, actually there was no placement of the second spore, it was just wasn't there, and then losing the spire, not ideal.
He placed it in his imagination, dude.
Yeah, and Sziky unfortunately falls there. But that attack that trutaCz did with the lings and mutas, this is the attack that I always talk about, but I think it's actually the first time I've seen it used in BSL in quite a while, because more and more players have gotten great at defending it, not just with, you know, lings or whatever, but also comboed with the spore. We see spores used more and more often these days, and even in ASL we see it a lot. So
yeah.
Now we're going to be going into game 2, and it's going to be, let me see the map. It is going to be Eclipse, and that is going to be Sziky's pick. So this is going to be a 2-player map, and I'm curious what builds both these players have planned, since they're going to instantly scout each other first.
Yeah, I can't really say that the 4-player map kind of played into last game. I feel like neither player really got the short end of the stick on scouting or build orders, really. So you would expect trutaCz to be feeling pretty well going into this game. On a 2, and they didn't really, neither player, I mean, trutaCz did go for kind of an unorthodox scouting pattern, and it did throw off Sziky a bit, because thinking back to it, the Overlord that was going towards the middle of the map from Sziky was because he hadn't seen the enemy Overlord at his natural yet, which is what he would have expected at that point, coming from the top left if it was a normal scouting pattern. So maybe Sziky got a bit disadvantaged there as a result, but you know, I don't feel like either player really rolled the dice there. So on Eclipse, it shouldn't be any different.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see another interesting build from one of the players. The building of one muta and showing it to the lings at the ramp was genius, and then having lings behind it, because let's say Sziky has the colonies built, but he hasn't morphed spores or sunken yet, and he's going to make a decision. When he sees the muta, you know, that's basically signaling like, hey, mutas are coming. But somehow Sziky read it right, and I guess he realized like, hey, you normally would have more than one muta here, so it must be a ling attack. So nicely done from him to build the sunken, but still not enough. But I do like those mind games that ZVZ does give to you. So we're going to be going into game 2. We're going to be getting into Eclipse. It's going to be Sziky versus trutaCz. So in the top right in the blue, down 0-1, it is Sziky.
In the bottom left in the pink, it is trutaCz.
Yeah, so this time around, of course, 2-player map. Both players are going to scout each other first. I hope we see an eco build, because I always find the evolution chamber style to be quite interesting, and you know that generally the evolution player Evolution Chamber style player is going to try and make something happen with the Lings. I'm hoping that one of the players goes for that type of play. But honestly, just thinking about how trutaCz has been playing lately, I think we might see a similar build to last game, the second hatch in the main, and it's going to be up to Sziky again to kind of deal with that.
Yeah, that's totally right, Naokin. And so far, though, no 9 pull from either player, making the Overlord here. Of course, 9 pull, honestly, 9 pull speed in ZVZ is a very standard build order. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it at some point here. You know, eOnZerG, someone that definitely likes that build. I myself used to like playing it a lot. It's probably the most robust build in this matchup. But, you know, on a 2-player map, you do not have the the surprise factor isn't as high. But at the same time, it is more likely for players to go 12 hatch as well on this type of map, which is exactly what Sziky's doing. And he is calling trutaCz's kind of bet here, where trutaCz went for that 12 pull, 12 gas. So Sziky should be feeling pretty good about this. This is a pretty good advantage to have, 12 hatch versus 12 pull. I mean, you know, there's some advantages, some build orders that have, there's a lot of kind of advantages that some build orders have over others, but this one is one of the bigger ones because honestly, trutaCz can't really have like a faster tech timing or a faster speed timing. Like it's not as leverageable as, for example, a 9 pull versus like a 12 pull. So this is going to feel pretty bad for trutaCz, honestly.
Yeah, this is not the build you want to be facing when you open with the 12 pool. However, you can see that the hatchery timing at the natural, I think around 500 different, or 500 health the hatchery was at for Sziky. Meanwhile, before trutaCz put it down, so that's going to give Sziky maybe like 1 extra larva production at his natural. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, the tech advantage for trutaCz is going to be a slight. You see that he's gotten speed going. He's pulled off of gas already, but he has about a 50 gas lead for now.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile, Lair for Sziky.
This is terrible for trutaCz. I mean, there is a possibility that maybe if Sziky plays overly greedy here and makes a couple of drones, he's going to be in a lot of trouble because he won't have Ling speed to defend. But if Sziky just makes Lings here, as he should, before confirming what trutaCz is doing, he's going to be just fine. And because he went for Lair first, his tech is going to be so much faster. Like, basically, if trutaCz doesn't actually break Sziky here, trutaCz is going to have to build spores. Like, that's how far off his tech is. So trutaCz has to put on pressure somehow, you know, either through breaking the natural or continuously making Lings so that Sziky doesn't have the opportunity to pull larva and make mutas. But, you know, trutaCz is definitely... Oh, he's making a sunken, so he's going to pull back and play defensively here.
Yeah, you can see that Sziky already has the Ling advantage. It is just slight, but okay, that is a Spire going down for Sziky. Meanwhile, Lair not done for trutaCz just yet. And we don't know what was coming out of those hatcheries. Now it's confirmed that it's Lings. So trutaCz is on the back foot for now. What trutaCz does have going for him is because he had map control in the early stages, you see he's broken off a couple of Lings in the center of the map. So they can go for a backstab like they are right now. And it's only 2, so to pop out for Sziky instantly puts some on the ramp to keep those Lings from getting in. But that's a lot of Lings for Sziky, and he may just bust him right now.
Yeah, Sziky going in here with all these Lings does get us around, but that is a sunken. More Lings pop out for trutaCz, so he should be able to hold on. Evolution Chamber on the way, but I feel like trutaCz, yeah, there we go, he canceled it. So apparently the Spire timing is actually pretty fast here for trutaCz, despite the fact that he went for speed before Lair, Naokin, and Sziky went straight into Lair, but it seems like because he went for that faster gas, he's still going to have decent enough timing on his Spire to not necessarily have to get spores. So definitely in a better spot than I anticipated. And we'll have to see if he defends this follow-up attack, though, because Sziky seems like he's pretty committed to making Lings, despite the fact that trutaCz has a sunken at his natural.
Yeah, he may be just trying to force Lings out from trutaCz right now instead of mutalisk. And behind this, while he builds up his mutalisk, he'll be, or while he builds up the mutalisk, he's buying time with the Lings. Now the Lings have retreated, and I think the mutalisk should pop out in time. But trutaCz has a lot of Lings, and maybe the mutas are not going to pop out in time. Okay, there they are. Now they finally pop, and now with Lings on the ramp, trutaCz should not get in here. There should be more mutas coming from the main also, but I don't see any.
Well, that's not enough Lings to hold the ramp forever, so trutaCz does get inside the main. He will kill one drone, at least 2 drones go down. 3, no, a third one escapes into the gas, doesn't die as it comes out. Overall, though, that was a pretty even trade. trutaCz was in a really good spot after he basically killed all the Lings there for free at his natural, but the counterattack didn't really go his way. Now both players getting into mutalisks, and looking at the supply, they're pretty even, so I would assume this game state is relatively even. It's going to come down to mutalisk micro. Contesting the overlords is super important here because overlords are just so expensive in this matchup. One larva, 100 minerals. trutaCz getting in there. He has Scourge support. Do they connect? One goes down.
One does. And this is what trutaCz does best. Once he gets into the mutas battles, it's almost impossible to beat him. And with 2 or 3 Scourge connecting, that's all he needed. And that's all she wrote for Sziky. Game 2 goes over to trutaCz in an instant as soon as those mutas get out onto the map.
Yeah, killer, dude. trutaCz is looking killer in this matchup. I mean, he was looking killer against eOnZerG, and we both have been talking about how just amazing eOnZerG. eOnZerG has gotten out of some tough groups in the BSL that was full of Zergs, and trutaCz to come out on top in that matchup, it's no wonder why he's doing so well here against Sziky today. And it just seems like he has his number.
Yeah, sometimes players just have your number for whatever reason, whether you have a mental block or whether they're just better than you. Actually, the attack that Sziky just made in the center of the map, you can't blame him for going for it because he knew that it was just 4 mutas. Even I knew it was just 4 mutas. But then as Zero scrolled down to the bottom side, 2 more mutas came in, and trutaCz already had Scourge, and that slight muta advantage that Sziky had, which was 5 versus 4, all of a sudden not an advantage for him anymore. So he went in too deep, got caught, and that's how ZVZ is. You can get punished in an instant. And well, this series might be over before it really even started because we're already going into game 3 and trutaCz is up 2-0 in the series. And what map's next? Okay, well, it's a bit of a weird one. Power Bond coming up.
Yeah, well, Power Bond's maybe exactly what Sziky needs. Maybe roll the dice on that scout pattern or whatever. But the problem with Power Bond, unlike Tau Cross, like Tau Cross can really be like that. Okay, honestly, ultimately, the highest variance type of ZVZ map is like a Jade or something. It's like a, you know, those 4-player, or like a Gladiator, those 4-player maps that have reverse ramps. Like that's where you can really roll the dice and get some free wins. But 3-player map with the ramp, it's not that bad, right? Like, sure, you might get the last scout, but you're not really gonna, if you play a safe build, you're not really gonna die to anything crazy.
Yeah, I agree there. But the Tau Cross map, actually, I was thinking about it, like if you think about how long it takes to get from your main to your natural and then actually get out onto the map, that's a map where you can just free roll, just roll the dice and get a free win. Like if you 9-tool and the guy's like, oh, it takes so long to get to my base, I'm gonna go 12 hatch or whatever, you know, or like the player going 12 hatch might instantly die, but because it's such a long rush distance, maybe they just have a killer insane lead with that opener. But regardless, Sziky's down 2-0, and because of how ugly it's looked with the muta micro simply so strong from trutaCz, I'm actually thinking, like, does this guy need to just Ling all in him? Like, try and just end it before going mutas? We saw somebody go 3-hatch, didn't we? Mass Ling. Was that trutaCz?
I know what you're talking about.
I know we saw it because when I saw it, I was like, okay, is this Faust playing? Because that's what Faust did in previous tournaments where it was just Ling Man the whole time, all game long in ZVZ.
Well, I don't know. 3-hatch. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was against eOnZerG too. Remember? It was on Shakura's Plateau.
Shakura's Plateau? Are you sure it was on Shakura's Plateau?
Yeah, 100%. And he lost.
100% Shakura's Plateau. That's weird because I played that map 12 years ago in a different
Shakura's
game.
Temple, whatever, man. It's the same, whatever.
It's that blue map.
They're blue.
They're blue in both games.
Somehow, dude. You're joshing me somehow.
Joshing
Power Bond is gonna be the map here. Let's get into it. Game number 3. trutaCz on match point.
Okay, I'm looking at that scout pattern in the top right in the blue going the right direction. It is Zziky.
And trutaCz in the 6 o'clock position here as the pink Zerg, also going in the right direction, but really it's the wrong direction because he's not really going towards the natural. So trutaCz on the off meta scout again, or the anti meta scout, will luck out this time around. You know, the thing with this type of scouting that trutaCz is doing though is that if you really know that your opponent is constantly doing the meta scout, you will get an advantage, because trutaCz, I suspect, if he wouldn't run into the Overlord halfway through here, he would just immediately redirect it. So there's a lot of thought behind how trutaCz is scouting. And Sziky, because he's just kind of playing his standard game here, which is fine, trutaCz is going to get a small advantage, but you know, you can play standard, but you have to be confident that you'll win. And Sziky just hasn't been winning. So this is just a feel bad moment for him.
Well, we do have the Overlords intercepting each other in the center of the map, so trutaCz not going to redirect at the top left. He is just going to continue up in that direction. Meanwhile, we see both players have gone for additional drones after the Overlord. This time around, it's going to be Zziky going for the early pool. Okay, also trutaCz going to go for a 12 pool instead of the 12 hatch, so both players not willing to risk it with a low ground hatchery in this game. We do have gas follow-up from trutaCz as expected, also Zziky matching the gas timing, so mirrored build so far. And as you're pointing out, that scout pattern is interesting, but you really have to know that the guy's always going to scout you the same way, like the same direction, because if you're both going weird scouts and then you misdirect one of your Overlords, as you mentioned, it just backfires. So obviously trutaCz has played Zziky or watched a lot of games to understand that he does this every time, because this is really kind of a gamble to go for like a halfway scout and then like, oh, you're not there, even though I didn't really scout. Now meanwhile, Zziky has gotten into the natural, confirms that there is a hatch going down, and you should know that this is a 12 pool opener. Meanwhile, trutaCz just now getting in. Yeah,
and you know, I totally agree with you, Dan, because honestly, Sziky, if there's an Achilles heel that he has, it's definitely the fact that he just plays overly standard every single game. I've only seen him really mix it up when he was playing against Tim in the round of 24, in a matchup that you would expect Sziky to feel pretty confident in. But whenever he's having to play kind of in a tournament setting against a player that can obviously contest him, he just defaults into this very passive, very kind of by the book style. And it's very easy to read, so not surprising that trutaCz has been able to generate these early advantages just through his scout pattern. This time around though, I mean, obviously it's not that big of an advantage because Sziky also got the first scout here, so you know, it's good for him. But we'll see. You know, they're basically playing on even footing here. We'll see if Sziky in this situation can get ahead, because this here, it's so skill-based. Like, both players have full information. They're doing identical builds. It's really just, it comes down to execution.
Yeah, and again, trutaCz is the one that has broken off some lings. He is hiding it. Squall, thank you for the big $50 tip. You're going to put us a little bit closer to that 5,000 goal for BSL13. At the natural of trutaCz, we see that a colony has been morphed. He's going to be morphing it into a sunken. And Zinky branching off those lings, I think he's using that one on the side, or using multiple ones to try and find these lings. And he has... Oh, he missed them! How does he miss that? And now he's feeling confident that, hey, there's not actually anything hidden for now, at least not over there. And he's going to go for... Well, I thought he was going to go for some type of move, but that's a lot of lings at the natural, so I don't really know what his intention are with having this amount of lings out in the center of the map.
Man, that's an in-control move there if I've ever seen one from trutaCz. It just, I remember I played in control once, or a couple times in ZZZero when Remastered came out, and he loved doing these, like, tactical moves with the lings and kind of hiding it. But actually, Sziky, with the reinforcing lings, luckily for him, they do intercept that counterattack squad, and trutaCz is going to take this time to also move his lings out. His spy are so far behind. What happened this game? I guess maybe we just weren't paying attention or don't know anything about ZVZ, but Sziky is just in so much trouble, or trutaCz is in so much trouble because these mutas are coming out for blue.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if they're coming out if they're not here, and blue just dies to mass lings. Sunken colony is going to go down now. A couple mutalisks are out, but that's so many lings, and sure, there's a lot of DPS with the mutas, but is it enough to actually save the nat? And the answer is going to be no, and with that hatchery falling, that's a big loss. And behind this trutaCz, what? He just taps out, he doesn't even try to fight with mutas?
GG. trutaCz takes it 3-0. He will be our third place finisher. I mean, I understand what Sziky just clearly, after those 2 games, just doesn't feel like playing it out. Sometimes you just have those days where you're like, get me out of here. I'm done. Yeah, trutaCz is going to be our third place finisher, man.
It's funny to me because before the game started, didn't I say Sziky should go for the Ling Flood? But it ended up being trutaCz again going for the Ling Flood. And it gets him another victory, and he just takes the series 3-0. I feel like, what was it? We had the series concluded in like 20 minutes. This was one of the fastest best of fives in the third and fourth place match I've ever seen in BSL.
Yeah, man, trutaCz likes his lings, dude. Let's be real. I mean,
which is funny because we were talking about how he doesn't like the lings. He likes the mutas. So that kind of tells you like how killer he is. We saw him crush on Eclipse with the mutas, and then just
he did, yeah.
He doesn't even. He's like, I don't even need to get here. I'm just gonna kill you in the early game. So what a beast. He is going to finish in third place, so congrats to him. Still congrats to Zeke. He had a good run in BSL. He gets 4th, which means he's going to automatically qualify into the round of 16 of BSL 13, so that's great for him. He doesn't have to play ladder, doesn't have to do any of that. He's automatically in. But as you mentioned, not his day-to-day, and it could just be that trutaCz just has his number. As I've stated multiple times, In Control ironically had my number. We always played, and it's always like a 50-minute game, whether he's dropping lurkers in my base or whatever he's doing. Somehow, you just can't get the best of this guy.
Yeah, well, he also slammed you at that launch sermon. Well,
Which
just
one?
the game one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Game one.
I remember watching that, man. That was so funny. It was the first game of the tournament, too.
Yeah, the funniest part is
30,000 people watching you die to
yeah.
lurkers.
Yeah, they're watching me die to lurkers. And the funniest part is, you know, I know In Control, and it's like before the game starts, it's like, okay, this guy's going to lurker drop me. And if he doesn't, well, he's in trouble. And of course, the lurker drop comes, even though I know it's coming, and I still take critical losses. It's like, how does that happen? But as I've stated, some people they got it versus you. So it seems like trutaCz today just had it. And unfortunately,
and it's a day thing too, you know. Sziky, it just wasn't his day, but you know, at the end of the day, it is just a 3rd and 4th place match. Nothing to be ashamed of. Sziky did get, like you mentioned earlier, that seed. That's the most important part here. So we will see him in BSL 13, and just a solid tournament for Sziky after kind of like a more lukewarm showing last season. So he should be happy about that. Of course, trutaCz as well, 3rd place today. That's gonna be it for this 3rd place match. We're gonna go into a break, and after that, the main course, Bonif versus Terror. Get your utensils out. Yeah, I don't know. See ya.